Welcome to our latest MDM podcast. I'm Mike Hockett, our executive editor, and this episode features a trio of short interviews I had at the recent NAW Executive Summit held January 31st through February 2nd in Washington, D.C. It's a newer podcast format we're trying out, capturing voices of distribution leaders while at industry events. At NAW, I asked Field Fasteners' Jim Derry, Dakota Supply Group's Paul Kennedy, and ORS NASCO and Medco Tools' Shane McCarthy about their company's biggest challenge, what they're seeing in customer demand, and what they're looking to do differently this year. NAW's Executive Summit provided a lot of great insights from executives of well-known distributors, so make sure to check out mdm.com or our free newsletter to find our recaps and takeaways from some of those sessions. Enjoy the podcast.
Hi, I'm Jim Derry. I'm the CEO of Field Fastener. We've been in business since 1990, so we're in our 32nd year.
All right. What do you consider to be the single biggest challenge that your company is facing right now? There's a lot of challenges out there, but if there's one in particular, is there one that you just find the toughest right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest long-term challenge that we're just kind of aware of and thinking about is the issue with the relationship between Taiwan and China. Now, we buy a fair amount of product from Taiwan. It's the largest single supplier country that we buy product from, and the tensions between those two countries could be devastating for our industry and our supply chain. So.
Yeah, we just heard from Secretary Pompeo. I was glad that he touched on that issue. Looking industry-wide, is there an industry issue that you're just tired of talking about, dealing with, or that you just wish was gone by tomorrow?
Yeah. It's the volatility in the supply chain, right? It was with COVID, and then the supply chain challenges where the lead times got long and prices went high, and things are changing. And it's just hard to plan and kind of communicate appropriately with our customers to understand what's going to happen going forward, because things change so much. So it'd just be nice to have some stability in the supply chain.
Yeah, it seems like we haven't had stability for about 4 years now. So yeah, I know everyone's wishing for the same thing. We're recording this as right now a lot of publicly traded distributors, manufacturers, they're reporting their fourth quarter earnings reports. And a lot more of them are starting to mention things like a little bit of softening demand from their customer base, more so than they were after the third quarter. So on that note, just what are you hearing from whether it's your field salespeople or just your customers in general on the demand level out there?
Yeah, I hear about softening and read about softening, but we're not seeing it. I mean, our customers are busy. Last year was record revenues for us. The fourth quarter was our best quarter ever, so we're not seeing any softening at all. And part of it though, we are taking market share. Our business has grown because we're just taking business from some of our competitors. So we're not seeing any slowdowns. And again, we're aware of it and read about it, but we're just not seeing it right now.
It's what I'm hearing a lot.
So I'm thinking maybe I just quit reading the paper or listening about that stuff. Sometimes I think it could be almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough people talk about an economic slowdown,
if you look for it, you find it.
Yeah, it might happen, but we're not seeing it.
Sure. What are you looking to do differently this year, whether it's as a company or yourself individually?
Well, we want to continue to grow. I mean, that's an important part of our strategy. And we just finished an acquisition recently, and we bought Mid-State Bolt Nut in Columbus, Ohio. So that'll be, we're excited to have that organization part of our team. So a big focus this year will be to integrate the Mid-State team into the field organization. So that's something we're excited about. And continue to really enhance the culture of the organization. That's a big part of kind of who we are as an organization. We're always looking for ways to kind of create the right environment to allow our people to thrive. So putting a continued emphasis on the culture of our business is really important.
That's great. And then we're in the middle of the NAW Executive Summit right now. What did you come here looking to get out of this event?
I love coming to the NAW meetings, and really there's several things, but it's the kind of the thought-provoking speakers, like the gentleman this morning talked about happiness. I mean, it's such a wonderful topic, but to distill it down into a kind of a teachable, coachable way to look at something as kind of broad as happiness, stuff like that's great. There's always great networking, meeting people that are in the industry, so the networking is great. And I always leave this meeting with a whole bunch of thoughts and ideas of stuff to do. I mean, there's always way more things that I could do in the business than I have time for, but it really does. It provides a great chance to kind of get out of the day-to-day business and kind of think strategically and think about the stuff that's most important to focus on for the business. So the NAW has done a nice job to help provide that kind of the thought-provoking ideas and then networking with other business leaders to kind of learn from what they're doing and process issues along the way.
So I'm Paul Kennedy. I'm the president and CEO of Dakota Supply Group. I have been in distribution for a little over 30 years.
What do you consider to be the single biggest challenge that your company is facing right now?
So right now, our biggest challenge is really trying to keep pace with the digitization of distribution and where we are on that continuum and what we need to do to kind of not only catch up, but kind of leapfrog that incremental improvement that we've been seeing. So that's what's keeping me up at night right now.
Sure. What industry issue, looking broader, are you just either tired of talking about, dealing with, or just wish would be gone by tomorrow?
I will say that the supply chain dysfunction that we've seen over the last couple of years would be the biggest one. And it's improved significantly, but particularly with electrical gear, it's still a challenge, and there are some other things. But it's put a lot of added stress on the business, but also added activity that isn't really productive activity.
We're recording this as a lot of many publicly traded distributors are reporting their 4Q financial results, and manufacturers, and more of them are starting to mention things like softening demand, things of that nature, more so than they were after the third quarter. What are you seeing and hearing out there, whether it's from your own salespeople or from your end customers, as far as what the demand level is out there?
So we did see a little bit of softening in November and December, but January kind of bounced back to where we thought it was going to be. Just based on our geography, we usually see a little bit of seasonality, but from a demand perspective, from our sales team out in the field and from our customers, outside of residential new construction, they're very upbeat, optimistic, and our backlog kind of reflects that.
Sure. What are you looking to do differently this year, either at Dakota Supply Group or yourself individually?
So one big thing at Dakota Supply Group, and I mentioned that is, what's keeping me up at night these days, is really pushing forward on our digitization strategy for our business. So that's going to be a big push for us this year at DSG.
And then we're recording this in the middle of the NAW Executive Summit. I don't know how long you've been coming to the summit for, but what do you hope to get out of this event?
Yeah, so this is my first executive summit. DSG joined NAW last year, so this is the first opportunity I've been at this summit. Was at the executive summit in September, but my hope is really to network with with market leaders who are bringing innovation and then also to gain insights and inspiration on things I can take back to DSG to help move that business forward as well.
My name is Shane McCarthy. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of ORS and Medco Tool. I've been in some form of supply chain, whether healthcare, industrial distribution, for just over 20 years.
What would you consider to be the single biggest challenge that your company is facing right now?
I think for a lot of companies, and ours included, there is just a plethora of innovation solutions, new technologies, and it's really deciding which are going to be the best platforms for us to invest in. We know that we have to continue to scale our business and look for the ways to leverage the resources, people, and infrastructure that we have. And in many cases, those people that we need to implement the technologies are the same people. So it's trying to determine what the best allocation is going to be to put them to the right use.
All right. What industry issue would, industry-wide, are you just either tired of talking about, dealing with, or just you wish could be over by tomorrow?
I think we hear in so many sessions, and we talk about it every day, it's labor issues and retention. And I don't think the problem is going to go away. I think in many cases we just have to find different ways to engage and get people into the positions that we're hiring for. We have to ensure that our companies remain attractive places to work.
Good stuff. What are you looking to do differently this year, either as a company or individually?
Yeah, I think back around the labor and retention issue, I think we're going to make a very concerted effort to build more engagement tools with our employees, communicate more about company results, try to make sure that we're making our workplaces the best they can be.
We're recording this as many publicly traded distributors, manufacturers are reporting their fourth quarter financial results, and noticeably more of them are mentioning the terms of softening demand or things like that they're hearing more than they were after the third quarter. So what are you guys seeing or hearing out there from whether it's your sales reps, people in the field, or just talking with your peers as far as what the current demand level is out there or the near-term outlook?
Yeah, we're continuing to hear some of the same information that you mentioned about softening demand, but we're not seeing it in the numbers. So we continue to see strong demand from our customers, and as far as we can tell, they continue to see strong demand in their markets.
It's the common thing I'm hearing here. We just wrapped up the NAW Executive Summit. What did you come here looking to learn, or what were the major takeaways you think you learned in these 3 days?
Yeah, I think it's always a great opportunity to meet with peers that are facing some of the same challenges you are, maybe that have implemented some of the solutions you're considering trying. So just exchanging ideas is number one. I think in coming away from some of the speakers, thinking about how to really maybe communicate and interact better with our workforce to, again, work on those retention and engagement tools.